Alright guys, today I'm gonna be working on the Ford. I'll be chasing the electrical problem, and as of right now, the main culprits are the engine ground wire and then the grounding for this. So for the starter relay, the engine ground wire. So we're gonna try to clean this up. Alright, perfect, that actually works. The thing is, posted on Facebook in one of the groups with this car or this year truck, just to try to figure out what it is, and everybody is almost on the same page saying it is 100% ground wire or something to do with the grounding between the starter relay and the starter, or the actual engine ground wire itself. And I do remember messing with it a little bit to try to clean it up. Don't fully remember if if it was me that fucked it up more than what it was, so hope it was not. Just trying to sand it. And then I think I'm gonna run it this to this instead of trying to put the washers. Yeah. So much fun. Also need to reattach positive. I leave it off just so it's not like hopefully draining. Alright, so it will turn on, hopefully. There we go, got everything. Clutch down. Damn it. Now we want to move to the starter relay. But actually I want to, no, I don't want to jump it. I don't want to jump that. It already got jumped before. I'm afraid I might have to buy a new one. Alright, got it cleaned up better. Gonna take two. Alright, this is an alternator wire. It should be attached to this, but I'm not doing that yet. So the audio cut out here, and to sum it up, it did not fucking work at all. Alright, new starter relay came in. Old one, because the guy before, whoever decided to bridge them, seized the bolts on, or the little nuts on there, and had to cut it off. So now hook up this bad boy. Alright, got it all installed. Gotta connect the battery and hope it works. Alright, moment of truth. Alright, oh yeah. Alright, that sounded pretty good. I just wanted to stop it just because, you know, I'm just getting excited. That actually sounds really healthy now. Alright, now get to try to throw some starter fluid in there. Alright. Alright. Get this motherfucker some fuel. Get this motherfucker some fuel, man. Oh my goodness, it started firing up. Alright. So, that was just off the spray. Started firing up real nice like. I gotta definitely get more oil because the crush washer is not doing its job. I gotta put the gas tank back up in there and hook up everything properly. And this motherfucker gonna run. I'm pumped right now. Just wanna hear it one more time. Alright, went out and got the new rollover valve. This thing is absolutely gross, and the grommet looks sucky. So yeah, well, you just gotta oil it up a little bit. Using the old tube because it doesn't really fucking matter. It just needs the vent and to be sealed. But this thing is disgusting. Just did the oil pan drain plug. Got the new little gasket thing on there. Gonna add some oil, make sure it's sealing, and then we keep moving on from there. Also would like to get a new breather thing because this thing is loose and gross and sucky. So gonna try to get that. And yeah. All right, I checked it. It does seem to be holding, so I'm gonna go grab the rest of the oil, pour oil in it, really make sure it's not gonna leak out, and then gas tank is going back up in it. All right, so trying to remember how everything was up in here, and I believe everything will be just fine because the way stuff is, like, you know, bent and kinked in the right spots. So yeah, it'll be quite the fun. All right, got the gas tank up under here. Time to start finagling it up. All right, stabilized it with some ratchet straps. Ain't doing too bad. Just trying to get it lined up good, and then I'll start jacking it up, and it's gonna be a little bit of a process all over, but it's all good. I was gonna film putting the gas tank in, but it was honestly so annoying and irritating. I kept taking so many foam breaks that I just gave up. But yeah, it's all installed, so just started up. All right, I hear the fuel pump priming, so all right, it's still cranking, but not starting. So, but the cranks are healthy. I hear the fuel pump going, so now I believe it is going into the fuel issue that the previous owner had. And now I got diagnosed that. My diagnosis right now is leading towards clogged fuel line, right? So I disconnected it right here at this regulator, and no fuel was coming out right here. Next thing down the line is this vapor separator. So I'm gonna try to see if I can disconnect this, throw it in the parts cleaner, and see if it'll work, and then re-disconnect that and run it. I honestly should have left that disconnected because this was a pain in the ass to get off, and I might just say fuck it and cut the hose a little shorter to fucking get it. All right, this thing dirty as hell. Looks dirty as hell. Had some varnish come up out of it, so I'm honestly gonna put a water bottle on that and see if the block is here. All right, absolutely nothing came out right there, so I think the block is farther down. So just sprayed some brake clean in it instead of just going to put in this parts thing, because it'll be fine. We'll leave the fuel line disconnected right there and hope I can find the block. All right, I have tried a handful of different things to get this truck to start and fire up and go, because I need to move it in my driveway. I don't know if I said this, but I need to move it in my driveway. I feel I'm getting no fuel in the lines. The previous owner seems like they took out the selector valve switch, so I don't got to worry about that. They also took out the fuel filter that's supposed to be on there, and I cannot figure out why the stuff doesn't want to go. I'm assuming it's probably fuel tank or the fuel pump. So we're gonna see what I can do about that. And then yeah, I just need to move it. So I'm gonna get a carb rebuild kit, since it seems like it's kind of plugged up with varnish, and I'm gonna rebuild the carb. So yeah. All right, got the carb pulled off, rebuild kit. What could go wrong? All right, took off the top layer. So far, I mean, like, it has a little bit of varnish in it, but it's nothing too crazy. Underside of this looks pretty good. Oh, I mean, that needle right there looks pretty gross, but check that out. Yeah, that one has some discoloring. It's kind of grody. This one's not too bad. And then go ahead and throw those in the parts cleaner. I think I'm done with this top half now. I'm gonna swap that out too, that orange stuff. Not sure what that little screw down there goes to, but that looks pretty gross too. I've been seeing a bunch of green buildup on this side, like on the different parts and stuff. This side's like completely clean, but it's just this side. So I wonder if it's just bad gas getting into this and just ruining it. So with some of these spots, I took some of the degreaser solvent that I use in my parts cleaner and put it in here because I also heat it up to really kind of work its magic, and it's getting all this shit that's up on this side out. It's just gonna take a minute. And then I'm also using some Q-tips to help kind of clean it out. Definitely also wouldn't hurt to invest in a better or bigger parts cleaner to fit this whole thing in there. But as of right now, it's working pretty good, cleaning off all the random shit. So I'm gonna be able to put this back together pretty soon. Yeah, you could definitely see the difference in what it was, because it was like, you know, looked like algae. Once you dump out the solvent, you can hit it with some brake clean and help kind of clear out the rest of the shit, because it all gets knocked loose. All right, got this ugly fuck all together again. Yeah, is what it is. All right, in terms of the Ford, gotta wait for a fuel pump to come in, and I'm kind of going back and forth on the carb situation, because it should be running off the bowls. It's not, so maybe I'm thinking something else in the carb that's wrong. Maybe something's cracked, so I can't see. So I might try to find a cheap, oh, not cheap, but like try to find a better carb on Marketplace. Because talking to a couple other people, the carb itself on there is technically too big for the 460, and especially for like the stock application. So I might try to find a 600 Edelbrock carb on Marketplace and see if I can throw that on there and have it work. But yeah, that'll be kind of it for this one. And while waiting on parts for that, next week should hopefully find the time to actually crack onto this. Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty much just stripping this thing down and kind of getting it dialed in. Maybe obviously repaint that, maybe paint the plastics, clean them up for sure, but just get this bike way better than what it is. And then I gotta figure out the throttle cable situation, because I don't have the push-pull throttle assembly like it should have. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of going through this one. Anyways, thanks for watching.